So today we're going to talk about a topic that's probably uncomfortable for some. It's side chicks. And this is not condemning anybody. I am in a space where I can empathize and sympathize with the side chick, although I have my own dealings with one. But the part where I understand is that now that I'm single, and even before I was single, there were run ins that I had had with married men, and there was no way that I could be serious with them or even allow them to sneakily and cunningly put me in that position. And at this point, with my situation and the way that it played out, I could never do that to another woman. That's number one. Number two, I never want to play number two to any woman. Like, I'm just selfish. I'm too I'm too territorial, which I'm working on that now that I've gone through divorce. I could never ever do that because I don't like sharing. So, with that being said, my marriage ended because of infidelity. Um, I literally, while I was pregnant, I discovered that my ex-husband was cheating on me with someone at his job. And I discovered a lot of things, a lot of videos, a lot of conversations, a lot of things. And mind you, me and my husband had been together for what, 13 years at this point. So I could read right through it. It was not genuine. I knew when it was happening because I had asked him, like, is everything okay? Like, at this time when you're pregnant, you're like, you want your little family to work. So you're trying to figure out everything that you can do. You're trying to focus on getting your baby here as well. And it was just like, I'm just here to figure this out. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew that he was going through something while I was pregnant. And I just remember finding everything out, and I saw everything and I knew exactly what it was. And I was just like, how could you do this? Like, I'm about to give birth. And at the time I was tore up. Like, I couldn't even like function. And I just didn't understand. Like, this woman knew about me. She knew that I was pregnant. She would stalk my page. She would stalk his page. She would get mad. Like, this is from the feed that I saw in his messages. She would get mad that I was having his first daughter. Like, mind you, I had already had his first son. She was just very matter of fact. He had led her to believe that she had a special place in his life, and I knew nothing about her, like, at all, but she knew everything about me. And clearly she had started getting some feelings. So we all know that excuse to say, I don't really want him, I'm just glad that he can go and he can do whatever and I can do what I want. I don't want a husband because I see them doing all kind of stuff. Stop it. Stop it. Let's stop that right there, because we're not going to be naive here. Because of your trauma, because of your background, you're saying that as a cop-out. You're saying that as an excuse because you want to protect yourself from not being chosen. And that's okay. Like, I get it. But that doesn't give you an excuse to lie to yourself. We come to this world wanting to be chosen. We come to this world wanting to be, loved, and loved in a way that we don't have to share. We don't have to share. And from birth until we experience life in a way that messes us up, we would prefer to be chosen. We would prefer to be chosen by our parents, and sometimes we're not. We would prefer to be chosen by our high school teams, all of that. We would prefer to be chosen. So we're not going to sit here and just act like, and this is where I give, I have grace for the side chick, because somewhere down the line, you had a traumatic experience to where you have told yourself, or you've had to tell yourself, that you're okay not being chosen. And because of that, you have lied to yourself and said, well, I'm probably never gonna get chosen, and that's okay, because that's what you have to tell yourself. You have to tell yourself that, just in case you don't feel like enough and you don't feel like you are actually going to get your own man. So you make it normal for you to say, I don't need a man, I'm gonna go and do this and da 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 da, and you don't have any standards. And let's keep it a buck. You don't have any standards, okay? And I'm not condemning you, but it's a fact. I would never get to a place, and I have my own flaws, but there's no way for me personally, I can never have a standard to where I'm okay with being number two. I'm just not cool with that. I don't care if we playing and kiki and kakan. I don't want to be a number two friend. I don't want to be a number two nothing to nobody. And sometimes, especially in a position like that is not something that you should feel honored doing. Like, is basically saying that I hold a significant space for you. There's nobody that can touch this space the way you do, like you. And most of the time it is on the other significant other that, I know a lot of women or men say, it's you should be talking to the man or the woman. That's your man, that's your woman. And she decided to, you're definitely right. You are definitely right. But we're not going to pretend like you don't have the power. Like, you don't have the power to say no. I was approached by a married man, by several married men, since I have been divorced. And they are very, very confident in the person that they're choosing to try to prey on. They'll do this with anybody who's kind. Anyone who is, maybe in a vulnerable stage, or who they think that are in a vulnerable stage. But if you're kind to a married man, he's gonna try you, and he may even, try to take it to the next level with you. But this man in particular just knew. He tried to lie to me at first and tell me that I'm not with her, I'm not even married, I just wore the ring the whole time. And I'm just like, do I look stupid? And at first I was gonna get offended and possibly curse him out, because at what point does it look like I'm an idiot? Just because I'm nice to you and I'm cool with you because we've been knowing each other for years doesn't mean I'm an idiot. So it's disrespectful that you would think that me coming out of a marriage, that I'm going to play number two to your significant other, wife, whatever. I'm not going to do that. It's disrespectful to me to even assume that. So, and I didn't want to have, even if we were dating, like, I didn't care to just jump into anything with feelings. Like, that is not the goal here. I'm saying that you cannot try to weasel me into that position. And a lot of men do that. But once you find out that man is married, you need to chunk the deuces, get out the way, because the karma that comes back on you is not worth it. And not only that, is that you're setting yourself up to fail. And you think it's a game, you think it's funny, you think it's cute, and it's not. I'm not here to condemn anybody. The delusion that you have to have is, it's it's outstanding. I don't even know how to even paint the picture. The delusion that she had was insane. She would check my page and she would, and this is from the feed now, she would check my page and be jealous because we would take pictures. Like we went to, like this was in the beginning of my pregnancy. So it had started in the beginning of my pregnancy. And we had took a couples trip to Avon, Colorado. Beautiful experience. Although I couldn't drink anything, but we still had an amazing time. And that was our honeymoon location. Our honeymoon was in Vail, Colorado. Such a beautiful place. And this particular year, in the beginning of my pregnancy, that's I guess when they had first encountered each other. And I know this because she told me after the fact. So at this point, they had been messing around for about 7-8 months when I found everything out. So she was very matter of fact, very entitled because he had made her that way. I want people to understand the delusion that comes with being a side chick and the audacity that you don't think about who all it impacts, and you're just going around here. It's just like somebody who sprays a neighborhood and they just like, they just go in and they just start AR-15 just shooting. And they don't recognize, or they don't care who they're hitting. They just shooting. And I think that's one of the things that's the most important thing here, especially when there's children involved. We all come from, I won't say we all come from broken homes, but we all deal with a level of trauma. The thing that frustrates me the most is that if you know that certain things happen when you were a child and you wish you had your father or your mother in your life, why would you go and break up a family? Like, that's number one, that you don't have any standards and that there's some real soul searching that you need to do. And it says a lot about who you are as a person, that you don't care about what happens to that child and how that's going to affect them. That's number one. Like if their parents get a divorce, things like that. That's number one. Number two is, I would never want to inflict that type of pain on another woman, period. I believe in marriage. I believe in love and relationship. I believe in monogamy. I believe in the covenant that you make to God with your significant other. And I don't like playing with God on that level. And when you decide to be a side chick, it really shows who is God in your life. At some point, it's not an excuse anymore. It's just not. You know what you're doing. And women, I can only speak for women because I'm a woman. Women, we have the power to cut it off. To cut it off. To say, don't call me, don't text me, to block that person, to be done with that person. Because these men, they don't really have that cutoff. If I had never said no or stopped with my ex, we would have kept going. Our relationship, as toxic as it was at the end, it would have kept going because I know that I hold the power. If I want to go back right now, I can go back and have my family back. But that's not where I'm at this point in my life. So I say all that to say, a lot of women, try to make the excuse, or it's really him. He wouldn't leave me alone. And I just fell in love, which is what she said. I didn't know anything about you and I just fell in love. But girl, the messages say otherwise. And now you're ashamed. Now it never looks good for a side chick. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And like I said, I'm not condemning, but it just doesn't look good for you. You're a homewrecker. And whatever excuse you want to make, it's invalid because we're all grown here. Unless you have a mental disability and you really don't comprehend well, we all know what we're doing here. And when you get into a relationship with a married man, you have to ask yourself, why do I feel like I need to be number two? Why do I feel like I have to play second field to another woman? I don't want to share nothing. You hear me? I don't want to share. I can't fathom the thought of sharing what's mine. It took me a long time to realize. My ex ended up separating because of that after I had the baby. Me and the girl exchanged words and all of that, and she was very entitled, very disrespectful. She said a whole lot of little nasty things to me, and I said a lot of nasty stuff to her, because who are you? You knew all about me and you decided to keep going. You decided to try to milk whatever you could get. For what? And I also think it's important to note that you would do this to a stranger. Like, that's the point, the biggest point I'm trying to make here is that you're doing this to someone you don't even know. Because regardless of what you think or what he told you, you could have told him you're inflicting pain on someone who's innocent to you. You need to go love your wife. I saw a recent video of this girl she was out and she was pumping gas. I think it was on TikTok. And she was like, this man tried to talk to me and he told me he was married. And the woman prayed for him and his marriage. I feel like that is the most beautiful thing, because the last time, this was a friend of mine. The last time I got hit on by a married man, it's kind of along the lines of what I did. I just sent him a message like, hey, you need to love your wife. And I'm almost borderline offended that you would think that everything that I went through, that I would allow something like that. I have too much character. I'm too integrous for me to just because it's a secret or I can get away with it or whatever. I don't need your energy that much to be trying to, it ain't that crucial for me. And I had to let him know, like, from what I know, if you love her, if you want your relationship and your family, you have a beautiful family, a beautiful wife. Go and love on her. Go love on her. Go figure out what it is that's wrong with you to where you keep looking in outside sources. Because I know what you're doing. I've been through this. My ex was running so hard from himself, he had to run to another person to be able to validate him in that way. Because now the mask had fallen. I've seen everything. You can't get nothing past me now. And now I have an expectation of you. Now I have an expectation of you. And I'm gonna need you to get it together. So because he didn't want to get it together, he had to go and have someone else. He had to create a whole nother facade. And then that person would accept him in that facade. And just knowing what I know now and how the situation ended up, she eventually found out the truth. But I said all that to say, and I done went all around the world, but I said all that to say, you are better than that. You don't have to play number two to anyone. To anyone. And y'all, I'm about to film some content, so sorry, y'all gotta get me in some rollers, but I'm about to take them out in a minute. Hold on. You literally have to believe that you are better than where these men try to place you. That's not cool. Because if they're coming after you and you're not seeking them out to be a side piece, that says a lot about how they feel about you. I take it as disrespect, because at what point, and I'll say it again, I reiterate it again, I can't get past the thought of, at what point did you think that I was going to be cool in this role? Why do you think that I'm not good enough to be number one in your life? That's how I look at it. I don't want to be number two, then I can't. And we know what you got to tell yourself. Most of the women who this happens to, and we all have our trauma, but there's some abandonment issues there. You've had to tell yourself and psych yourself out because you have low self-value or low self-worth, to the point where you've psyched yourself out to believe that you don't even need a man. You don't want a man. You don't want a commitment. And that's just to save face because of the truth that you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to be vulnerable, probably because of what you've seen. I don't know what it is. You may have seen your daddy may have been a pimp. You may have been molested. You may have been beaten on. So now you don't feel comfortable with even thinking about a relationship. So you have to psych yourself out and tell yourself that I don't need a relationship. I'm good. I don't even want one. So why are you seeking affection? If you don't want nothing, then why are you seeking affection at all? I understand you wanting to be alone or whatever, what have you, but we all want to be wanted at some capacity. And if we can have someone who's faithful, who is safe, who is loving, then I'm sure you take it. But because you have to tell yourself and safeguard yourself from rejection, you tell yourself that you don't want it. And that's a lie. That's a lie. We all want to be wanted, and that's okay. But at some point, you're going to have to sit down and do the self-work, the inner work, to figure out why you don't feel worthy, why you don't feel like you can be or are able to be someone's number one love, someone's number one person. Because you're worthy of that. We're all worthy of that. There's someone out there for somebody. Whatever excuses that you tell yourself, you gotta dead that, sis. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. And we're just gonna keep it a buck. But, you know, some of the best ones, some of the finest ones, some of the smartest ones, some of the richest ones have been cheated on. So it says nothing about the woman. It says everything about the person that's running from themselves. And when they continue running and they meet you, they're going to come with a level of baggage and karma that you're not even ready to deal with. So send that man or woman back to their person, or they've been caught now. So they probably need to go do their own healing and their work. And I was in a vulnerable stage when I was cheated on. I was pregnant. And a lot of women say, you always remember how you were treated while you were pregnant. And that never leaves you. And that says a lot about how a man is either dealing with something in demons heavily, or how they feel about you. I feel bad for the side chick now, because she's now figuring out, it's a tale as old as time. She's now figuring out that this man lied. He had so many things going on with him that what he showed was all a lie. But she tried to convince me, his wife, that he was a good man. He don't treat me like he treats you. And I'm better than this. He only with you for the... Oh, really? Okay, fine. Now guess what? She's on my page as I'm glowing up. I done dropped the baby and everything. This is 3 years later. Divorced. And now she dealing with the garbage that I took out. Not saying him, but the trash that he refused to deal with. Now she's dealing with it. Now she's stuck with him because she had a baby while we were married. And she's wondering now why I won't communicate with her. And that is because you weren't human enough to care for another person. I was pregnant and you decided to meet up with my husband and you know, do all of these different things and be nasty and show your, I mean, it was disgusting. You decided to do all of these things. And now, since I gave them to you on a platter, you want to, like, make it make sense. Now you on my page looking on my page, your mama on my page looking on my page, and all the things. So I say all that to say, this is, and I don't want him. I don't want him at all. I love him. I wish the best for him. I've said that before. But this ain't that, baby. Boo-boo. He did what he did, and there's other karmas that I will not mention on here because that's not my place to say. And I feel bad about the situation. But just know that I can vouch for the fact that karma comes right back around and bites you. So you don't want to be in that position to play with God, number one. And number two, to even, and I'm not even the type to be like, God, get back and that. Because I believe that she's God's child too. She is. I've prayed for them. I've prayed for him. And that came with a level of maturity and healing for me to be able to do that. But you gotta be careful how you treat people, especially when they're in a vulnerable state, because you reap what you sow. That's in the Bible. If you don't believe in karma, you gotta believe that one. And there's a lot of other proverbs and things like that that tell you what will happen when you sow bad seed. So I say all that to say, and I probably will do a part two. I know this was probably long, but I say all that to say, we gotta stop and we gotta hold ourselves to a higher standard. There's enough men out here for everyone. And if you believe that you are that girl, you're a big stepper, you're a boss, you're fine, and I know that I'm gonna attract my man when I'm ready. I've attracted so many already, but I'm not ready yet. And I realize that. And I'm confident in the fact that number one, he's gonna find me. That number two, that if I don't want that one, another one gonna come, period. And he gonna be mine. He's gonna be mine. I just have to have the discernment I have to be in tune with God so much to where I don't miss the red flags this time. That is the key. So I'll cut this video short, and I hope you guys didn't take this the wrong way. And this is not to condemn anybody. I love all of y'all. But when we're doing stuff like that, we gotta take a step back and really think. And use our minds, use our brains. And if we're gonna play the game, we gotta play the game smart. We don't wanna be out here looking like clowns, period. Because ultimately, that's what you look like. With love. See y'all next time.